Hey guys, so got a lot of personal requests, personal messages in response to me saying that I'm going to take the next 10 weeks and try to create the next version of myself. And a common question I get is, how do I intend to do that? So, what I thought I'd do is just kind of share my thoughts now and probably just along the way across the next 10 weeks. More so to chronicle the information and what I'm thinking, and to share. It might inspire you to do something similar on your own. So I speak a lot in metaphors, personal metaphors. I use metaphors a lot personally because I think they're a tremendous way to encapsulate a lot of information and nuance in a way, without the requirement of being technically and literally accurate. So that makes it practical. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of share how I started this 10 weeks. So the first thing I want to do is just get really clear on my thinking, or try to remind myself what I think. And the first thing I do is I always explain, or always remind myself, or always ask myself how it works. And by it, I mean my version of everything, the universe, all that is, how I think it works. And this is important because if my belief is that you'll only really take action on things that you believe can generate a result that you actually want. So it's important for you to understand from a belief level why it's possible to do the things that you want to do, for you to really have the energy behind it to get it done. So the first thing I'm going to try to explain to you how I think it works to me. Remember, this is my personal metaphor that tends to work for me. I'm not saying that this is how things actually are. I'm saying that this is a model that works for me and has worked for me over quite a long period of time. So I'm going to start at what I call my foundational beliefs. So first thing I need to do is put on my $8 glasses so I can see what I'm writing. Yeah, I'm a style king. And then I'm going to just share what I always remind myself of before I do one of these things, of why it's possible for me to make the change that I intend to make. Okay, so I'm not sure how well this is going to come out because I'm trying to film myself as I write. I tend to want to write down my thoughts to visualize them. I believe this is a way to help you organize your thinking and be clearer on your thinking. So the first thing I try to do is just write down what I'm thinking, right? Write down what I'm thinking and force myself into a zone of clarity. And I try to summarize a lot of concepts in a way that's meaningful to me. So the first thing is I'm on an effort to create a new version of me. So I have to first define who I am, right? So, and the way I'm going to do this is, in the metaphor that works for me, is one of body, mind, and spirit. Okay, so right now all I'm going to do is just remind myself, or ask myself, or declare what my current belief is on these different elements of myself. So the metaphor that works for me is that the body is just essentially energy in the metaphor of biology. And I'm going to apologize for any spelling errors I make along the way as I try to both talk, film, and write at the same time. Hopefully you're going to be able to see what I write. So yeah, I believe that the body is just essentially energy in the in the metaphor of biology being, atoms, cells, molecules, organs, bones, muscles, etc., blood, enzymes, all of that good stuff. So body, in my metaphor's body, is energy in the metaphor of biology. Mind is energy in the metaphor of thoughts, including emotions, beliefs, images, and information. Okay? So I believe mine is energy in the metaphor of thoughts, beliefs, emotions, information. I believe spirit is energy that is found everywhere and in everything. So I believe that spirit, the metaphor that works for me is that spirit is energy in the metaphor of something that is found everywhere and in everything. Now, the reason why this metaphor works for me, because it's going to give me a paradigm at which I can understand how I can have control over these things. And the reason why is because by understanding that each of these elements of myself or me is energy, the common denominator becomes energy, right? So all of these things are essentially energy in my metaphor, which means if I can affect energy, that is one thing I can affect that can affect all these areas that make me me. Let me just put a little happy face right there, me with a happy face, because I am happy. All right. Now, the way that I intend, the way my metaphor explains my ability to affect these things is I can affect them with intention. The best way to visualize how I believe intention can affect energy is to just view it as tension. And imagine like piano wire. If there's little tension on piano wire, then it'll have a long kind of wave like that. If there's a lot of tension, or you pull it really, really tight and you pluck it, it'll vibrate like this. It'll vibrate very, very, very fast. So what I'm showing is how an action on something under tension can affect it, right? So in this metaphor, if I view intention as tension, and I understand that, this little piano wire analogy, that if tension can change the vibration, this vibration can affect energy, and energy can affect the raw components of my foundation that I believe make me who I am. It affects my body, my mind, and my spirit. That's why this metaphor works for me. Now, the reason why I list out my components of me in this order, body, mind, spirit, is because the body is physical, making it visible. And the most important thing is that I can, with my body, I can demonstrate effect, specifically my ability to affect, which means I can have a thought, I can take certain action, and I can change this. I can change this component, right? I can specifically set out, like I'm doing for this 10-week challenge, I specifically set out to demonstrate to myself that I can physically change my body. Now, the reason that's important, because remember the common denominator. If I can do that if my effort, my intention, and my action can change this element of who I am, then because of the common denominator, it can also change this element or affect this element, and it can also affect this element. So this is a metaphor that, because of that, that's why I always start my personal, missions to evolve myself or challenge myself or change myself. I always start with the body, because the first thing I want to do is remind myself that by demonstration that I have control. So this is how I start. What I do is I remind, and because of all of this, that means that it is possible. It is possible, exclamation mark, doggone it, with a lightning bolt. Actually, I'm a better artist than that. But that's in the moment, and we're going to roll with it. My lightning bolt. That it is possible and actually exciting, that it's in the realm of possibility, right? That I can actually make this change. I can effect this change. I can evolve myself. You know, I saw a movie just 2 weeks ago. What was that movie I saw? Oh, something Squad, Suicide Squad. And in the Suicide Squad, there are these people that have these deeply embedded powers, right? These superpowers, if they will, and they call these people meta-humans. And in a common theme in like the comic book world or the movies and TVs and science fiction is that this is something that's latent inside of people, that under the right circumstances and pressure, these powers manifest and they evolve, right? So all of this plays into this idea. This is why that might be possible to me. That's why I believe this is possible. And because I think it's possible, now it makes sense for me to take the time to commit and give it the energy, time, attention, and focus to take me to the next level. So the very first thing I do before I try to evolve myself or change myself or enhance who I am is I define in my own terms who I believe that I am. And I don't mean Earl Man or a CEO of a tech company or Batman, because all of these things are obviously true. No, I mean, who do I believe that I am from a standpoint of what makes me a person? That could be different for everybody, but this is a model that works for me because it gives me a strong foundation, a logical foundation of why it is possible to make any change I want, both internally and externally, by the way. It's a metaphor that extends itself beyond my six-pack, which I am about to enhance. So that's step one for me, and I'm off to it.